Hello, hello, the doc is in, and welcome back. We have another chapter of One Punch Man, chapter 163. I was not expecting there to be a chapter this week. I thought everybody was off on break this week, but One Punch Man runs on its own schedule, apparently. I didn't know that. But we got a, what's it called? 40-page chapter this week. Last chapter was, what, like 42 pages? And we just go back to back with the extra long chapters. I'm not complaining, but is what it is. And so let's just actually coming off the last chapter, basically we have Saitama and Garou like properly fighting for the first time. We have Garou getting a little bit of an upgrade of his form, and we have One Punch Man and not One Punch Man, Saitama clarifying that he's not going to kill Garou. He's just gonna beat him up, as per the usual. And so, let us begin. So the chapter starts off continuing from where the situation with Saitama punching Garou super far away, and we see Garou thinking about how he's getting stronger and like his monstrification is progressing, but he still doesn't feel like he's really catching up to like Saitama's uh, power level, so to speak. And I mean, it's not surprising. Saitama's a beast. I mean, why would you think you're gonna catch up? And so as Garou is thinking this, you have Saitama showing up, and he basically is like, Garou, what's your goal here? And so Saitama basically giving like a little bit synopsis on like what he thinks, what he's observed of Garou. Is basically like, originally I thought you had like an issue with heroes specifically because you went specifically out of your way to go hunt heroes despite being a human at the time, well, at least initially. But then you work with heroes during this arc to defeat monsters. So, what's the dealio here? But if you're gonna be working with heroes, you might as well just be a hero. I mean, you seem like you're a pretty chill dude outside of the whole, maiming heroes every once in a while thing. But you seem pretty cool. I mean, that's the vibe I'm getting from Saitama here. This is questioning, and basically, Garou, once again, kind of acting like an edgy teenager when told he's being kind of edgy, but he's kind of cool. He's basically like, "Fuck you," and I never helped any heroes. And then he's like in his head, he's like, that one time when I was working with Melobat, that was just a coincidence. I was just being efficient. Like, I mean, I know I could have beat that guy up, but he was helping me out, so a common goal type of thing. And Saitama's low-key calling his bluff, and basically Saitama's like, oh, your absolute evil thing kind of just sounds like you want to create world peace. And then Garou's like, there's no way. You're clearly just making assumptions. Like, how'd you even get to that conclusion? And Saitama references Terrio. He's basically like, oh, you up that kid, encourage him to, like, continue getting up and stuff. I mean, you seem like a pretty nice guy, all things considered. And Garou left speechless. He's like, shoot, Terrio is like a glaring issue on my whole ultimate evil thing. It's kind of like Saitama's kind of like pushing Garou's buttons because he's basically like, oh, he seems like a nice kid. You should like totally team up with him one day. And Garou's just like, shut up! And he rushes Saitama. And so then we get a little bit of exchange. So Saitama's going for a punch, but through the power of martial arts, Garou blocks the punch, or at least stops it before it can like really like get going. He blocks it, hits Saitama with a karate chop, then hits him with a combo straight to the face, then an elbow push, and sends Saitama flying. But not flying, because Saitama grabs Garou's arm, and then Garou, again, through martial arts, hits Saitama with basically a haymaker straight to the side, and then uses Godslayer instant attack, huge combo of moves. And Saitama dodges it by going underground, and then retaliates with a rock. And basically, Saitama then points out what the whole exchange basically showed of the level difference between Garou and Saitama, where Saitama, more than likely and absolutely, is definitely stronger than Garou, but because Garou's technique is just so far above anything Saitama does at any given moment, it kind of doesn't matter how strong Saitama is if Garou just doesn't get hit. It's like a no It's like a level 1 run in a FromSoft game, or specifically Elden Ring, since that's the most recent one. It's like, it doesn't matter how strong the level 1 character is, whether he has enough damage or can take more than one hit or anything like that, because if I just never get hit, does it really matter anything that you can do? And so, considering what Saitama basically just confirmed, you would think, okay, well then Garou kind of is confirmed. Well, not confirmed, but like you'll probably beat him. But then Garou internally points out that even though he can basically predict and see right through everything Saitama does, it's like he's just so ungodly strong that he still, even with the fact that he's technically not much better than just like a street fighter or just like a guy, it's like he moves so fast. It's kind of like he still matches up with Garou's technique to a certain degree. So Garou still has to try pretty hard to like get combos off and get, you know, not get obliterated by Saitama if he tries to hit him. And so after that, Garou goes for another God Slayer technique. He uses God Slayer Ascending Attack, hits him with the 3-piece and sends my man Saitama flying. And when I say flying, I mean forward, because he kicks him towards a building, right? And Saitama hits the building, and then that building hits a building, and then that building hits another building. Then Garou decides, you know what, I'm up in the ante, alright? The triple building attack wasn't enough. Let me hit you with the great power attack. You see his hands start glowing. I don't even know what this is, but he obliterates the whole area. I mean, the only way I can describe it, outside of like you seeing the destruction, is remember that time Saitama threw a punch at Genos during the little sparring match and he like blew up a whole canyon? It's like that. And I don't even know if this one's bigger or smaller or not, but like it's that level of like the gust of wind and just debris and everything's just destroyed. So in the aftermath, all the building falls down, and Garou is just like, yeah, there's no way this guy could have survived that. I mean, that was an eternal attack. You can't train your blood and muscle and blood and bone, man. And Saitama's just like, I don't need to train. I just am that guy. And so we get a little comedic scene here, or at least an interesting scene. And so, turns out, under some of these buildings and under the rubble were people hiding underground. And basically, they get out and they're like, shoot, we're trying to help people evacuate. And then, you know, we end up underground. And Saitama's like, oh, interesting. Well, those buildings got blown away because of me and Garou's fight and whatnot. And so, Saitama says, oh, please thank my edgy friend here. He's the one who knocked the buildings down that saved you guys. And everybody's just like, well, the regular people are basically like, they're sweating their balls off. They're like, whoa, this guy's a little much. But their parents raised them well, because they still thank you. No matter what they look like, you still use your manners. And so Garou's looking, he's surprised as hell. I mean, once again, I think like this is touching into his good hero heart, but neither here nor there. They say thank you, and then Saitama's basically like, oh, you guys should get out of here, or whatever. Obviously, they're still fighting, so I imagine that's probably why he tells them to leave anyway, but, you know. And then as they're going, one of the girls still, she turns back around, she gives a letter, like, proper thank you, and then, you know, he gets a little bit awkward silence, because, you know, Garou's in his head, he's like, dang, I kind of like that thank you. So then I was looking at him like, I know you appreciate that thank you. I know you did. And basically, Saitama then once again pokes a little fun at Garou. He's basically like, oh, you know, you're really good at being a hero. I mean, for an absolute evil guy, you're pretty good at saving people. Like, ultimate martial arts, ultimate evil. I mean, you're pretty good at this stuff. And Garou, once again, he goes a little edgelord, and he starts throwing punches, and Saitama got this shit-eating grin going on. Like, yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. And so, we cut away from there for a little bit, and basically we just see this town and this giant volcano, and basically the volcano's exploding and people's house is about to get blown up. Makes sense, happens to the best of us. And so as the people evacuating everything, and you know, people getting people out of the area, are looking at the volcano, they're like, dang, is that volcanic lightning? And we see on the following page, Garou apparently transforms again, gets a pair of wings, looking a little bit more beefy, looking bigger, and he's still going with the combos on Saitama. And Saitama's just like, dang, I didn't expect him to get bigger. And Garou sends Saitama flying into the volcano, right? They're fighting at this point. And Garou comes in with a crazy, devastating attack. It's so devastating even that this giant volcano that was gonna burn down these people's like whole town and everything, all these people had to move. I mean, he literally just blows like half of it up with his attack that's hitting Saitama into the mountain. So, I mean, you can power scale and or quantify how powerful that attack had to be, but yes, he just blew up a volcano and averted a whole natural disaster. And so the people on the ground, they're basically like, oh shoot, all the lava is going away from the town because that whoever that guy was just blew up half the mountain and all the lava is now going out the other side. Must be lit. And Garou is just like, man, that was a really strong attack. And Saitama's just like, it's like counter, slap straight to the face, sends that man flying. And Garou's basically just thinking in his head, he's like, shoot, like that attack was so strong it blew up half a mountain and went through him. So that guy's literally stronger than a mountain. And we get this crisp panel. This is what I use for a thumbnail. But the crisp panel of just Saitama with the volcano exploding behind him. Chef's kiss. And so basically Saitama makes another observation. He like notices that like, you know, town saved and everything. He's basically like, you know, you're kind of like king in the sense that like without even trying, you still do like good things. You know, you like help people out and all that. Is like he basically says like you have great hero instincts. And that's how we end the chapter. And overall, once again, a great chapter. So, One Punch Man chapter is always 10 out of 10. So I can't complain. Won't lie. Art's always nice. And with the chapter ending, I have to say once again, this was going really fast. I mean, I can smell, based on the way things are going, like a crazy Murata one update to what's gonna happen between the fight between Saitama and Garou. Because what we're currently looking at, like the newest form iteration of Garou's monsterization, kind of looks like what basically ends up being like one of the final forms in the original 1 version. So I can only say that if we're going to continue seeing Garou get stronger and stronger, his forms are going to get crazier, like much crazier. I mean, if you read the 1 version, like you can tell like, oh snap, this is like a homage to the flying version in the other one. And so it's like, if we're already getting that, and clearly the fight's like not really that close to being done. I mean, reasonably you could say like, oh, it could end in the next chapter, but you could also say like this could go up for like another 10 chapters even. So it's really up to how Murata and One want to do it, but clearly, as you've seen with even just before the fight, like they're taking things to a new level. Like things aren't just like they follow the same beats, but they make the beats like way stronger. So I'm looking forward to whatever's gonna happen with that. And you know, there's not really too much theorizing to be done. Clearly, Garou he's being set up so heavily for like a hero, not a hero moment, but more so like, you know, he's being set up to become heroic at some point in his future. I mean, they could not be putting it more on the nose. So it's just that straightforward. Saitama, I mean, I don't know if I remember Saitama being this much of like, not an edgelord, but such like not sassy either. I guess I would say like poking so much fun at his enemies. But like, especially with Garou, I don't know, maybe it's because he views Garou kind of like an edgy teen, like I said before, but he's poking so much fun at this guy. Like he's literally making fun of him like every 5 seconds. And Garou just taking the bait. He like just gets pissed off and then upgrades and gets stronger even further. So I guess we'll just see how far this can really go. But like I said, it seems pretty set up that, you know, Garou's going to become good at some point. We'll just have to see how long is Garou gonna go with this whole I'm not good. I'm just it's coincidences. I'm evil and Satan worshiper and is not a phase mom and blah 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 blah. No, that sort of thing. And I guess that's about it for the chapter. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you dislike, comment something, or don't comment anything, whatever. Drop a subscription, that's a requirement, you have to do that. And thank you once again for watching the video, and the doc is out. Peace.